We do have to talk about the college football playoff. We found out what bowl game that Memphis will be playing in. Ole Miss's college football playoff
Say that
have
10
likely
times fast.
ended after finishing 9-3, tongue-tied on the show today. Rough going. Ranking number 13 in the latest college football playoff standings. Despite a strong season and a win in the Egg Bowl, their absence from the SEC championship leaves them without further influence. Coach Lane Kiffin made a case for the Rebels, citing the close losses they've had and the key wins, but defeats to unranked teams like Kentucky, LSU, and Florida really hurt their resume. So you're looking at this, you see the 12 that are in there, Texas in there, Notre Dame, Alabama sitting there at 11, Arizona State's in there at 12. And I think if you're an Ole Miss fan, you had a case. I understand the case, but at the end of the day, it's rough going.
Make the case, Rachel. I know you got the case. I know it. I can see it in your face. She won't let it die. She won't let the dream die.
Sorry, I want to go cover the college football playoffs. I can't believe you don't want to. Crazy thought.
Nobody is saying that.
Yeah, nobody's saying that.
Don't put words in my mouth.
I think, okay, if we're talking honestly.
Let's talk honestly.
Alabama, 11. Miami, come in at 12. Ole Miss, 13.
Yep.
How do you put Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, South Carolina? Either Miami is above the three of them or Miami is below the three of them. I don't know how you split Miami in the middle of the three of them.
Why, they have less losses?
Alabama?
No, I'm saying Miami does. Miami has 2 losses.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Either Miami goes above the 3 SEC teams or they go below the 3 SEC teams. You don't split Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. I don't know how they did that. Obviously, brand has a big factor in it. But they said, like, on the playoff committee, the reason why they put Alabama there is because Alabama is 3-1 against top 25 teams. Miami is 0-1. Okay. Bama is 6-1 against teams above 500. Miami is 4-2. Okay, I hear that. That makes sense. But then you look at Ole Miss's. Well, they're 2-0 against top 25 teams. That's better than Miami. They were 0-1. And then they're 3-2 in games above teams that are playing, above 500. So that's not as great as Miami. They were 4-2. Played an extra game, whatever. But I don't know how you split the 3 SEC teams. They have the same record. Can one of you explain that to me?
Okay, what you got? What you think?
Well, how can you split it? I mean, it really doesn't make all that much sense. Yeah,
Right.
I agree. I mean, I don't think that you can based off of what you said. I'm not saying I agree with it, but Miami has essentially what you're saying is, okay, how is Alabama ahead of them? But also what you're saying is, how are they ahead of Ole Miss too? And I think that it comes down to Ole Miss's losses. They have 3 bad losses. Miami have 2 bad losses. That's what it comes down to.
My gripe isn't so much with Miami being ahead of Ole Miss. It's more so if you're going to put
Miami being behind Alabama is where the
it's
gripe
like
is.
Either Miami's ahead of all 3 of them or Miami's behind all 3 of them. There should be no Miami in the middle of any of the three SEC teams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make a case for Alabama. I don't feel that strongly about it, to be honest with you.
Make a case. Come on.
No, I don't. But I don't have one to make, really. Like, I think what you want me to say is Alabama playing the SEC and Miami playing
Please tell me what I want you to say.
But I don't even need to say that because it's obvious. People know that. The haters out there know it. I mean, we just looked at the recruiting classes overall. Like in the SEC, that's where people want to go play. That's the most popular. It's the best conference, and brand recognition has to deal with that as well with Alabama. And so, yeah, they may not have as good of a resume overall as. I mean, I don't even believe that. I think Alabama has a better resume than Miami.
I really think the resumes in terms of Miami, Alabama, South Carolina, and Ole Miss, I think they're almost identical to me.
Yeah.
I think any way you slice it, depending on which side of the aisle you fall on, if you're a Miami fan, you're going to feel some type of way about it. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you're going to feel some type of way about it. South Carolina fans certainly feel some type of way about it, and maybe they should. But at the same time, like everybody's agenda, you can take whatever stats you want in terms of strength of schedule, in terms of bad losses versus key wins, all of those kind of things. At the end of the day, you had to play the teams in front of you. And you didn't win.
Oh gosh,
Coach.
I hate to be that guy. That's just how I am.
Avery, on Monday, we decided that their resumes are not identical. I don't want to get into that whole debate again.
I think they're close enough that anybody between that 11 to, or excuse me, not 11, really 10 to 13, 14, they're all going to have a case for it. It's really about, again, and I'll say this, it's a TV product. At the end of the day, people want to see Alabama in that TV product. It's going to draw ratings. It's going to draw eyes. And I think that plays a part of it, whether they'll say it out loud or not, whether they say that's in their critique or criteria. They know the Crimson Tide are going to draw the crowd, and Alabama has done just enough to keep themselves in the conversation for the college football playoff. And really, Alabama's fate seems like it really relies on who wins out of Clemson and SMU in the ACC championship game.
Last thing I'll say, I don't think Ole Miss missed out or whatever. Like you said, people are always going to be mad no matter which way you slice it. At the end of the day, they blew it. They had to beat Florida. They blew it. My issue is just, if you're going to put Alabama somewhere, then the other two SEC teams are right behind them. That's my only thing. I'm not saying they should have made it.
You think they should be stacked? It
Yeah,
should be like
I think,
Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Miami's
in
ahead
whichever order. Yeah, whichever order you do it, whether Miami's before or after, like you're saying, the resumes are pretty dang similar. It's very hard to split them. But yeah, I think those three SEC teams, their resumes are a lot more similar than what Miami's is. So you've got to figure it out.
It's curious to me how game, like when you lose, how much does that play a part in where you are? Because we saw Notre Dame still have a fantastic season, obviously, but they lose to Northern Illinois, and they're still in that top 5, 6, 7, which I think is really strange. I think of all the bad losses that you talk about, that's probably one of the most egregious.
Also
And they've only lost one time.
Yeah.
And they lost that game in September. So it's like in some people's minds, you've almost forgotten about that loss in certain ways because they've won every game since then. To me, the Miami thing is interesting because they've lost 2 of their last 3. And so it's like, to me, I think we've seen those kind of losses, you kind of tumble. You tumble your way out because you lose consecutively in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, but then you see Alabama 2 weeks ago get blown out by Oklahoma.
Yeah,
and that didn't really seem to affect them at all.
That does not make sense to me. I give you that one. Well, especially when Ole Miss, in particular, beat Oklahoma by 21 points.
Well, I don't think we have the graphics ready for it, but we'll have it ready because we'll have a lot more of these. This is a young show. I just want to say I was right about Ole Miss all along.
Oh
Y'all doubted me. I was right about it after they lost to Kentucky.
You said the season was over.
I said the season was over.
I
said the season was over.
But the season wasn't over at that point.
It essentially was.
But it was
over now.
Go talk to Fred Smith at the College Football Committee, whatever his name is. Go talk to him. The season's over. If you look at that Kentucky loss.
FedEx
what did I say to you the other day?
I feel like there's a lot of old white guys named Fred Smith. I just pulled an old white guy name.
Caleb has a lot of opinions. There's a lot of views out there. And I said to him the other day, every watch is right twice a day.
You want to go through what I got right? We're about
That's the only thing you got right now.
Let's not go for what you got right. Apologies to Fred Smith. We need him to be a friend of the show. So ignore Caleb.
All but respect for Fred Smith. Yeah.
No, okay.
I don't think I
Anyway.
disrespected him.